you have these 5 conferences, the Power 5. They are not being collaborative. Right now, you have the Big Ten and probably the Pac-12 who are going to say, we're done. And it's a free-for-all for the other 3, as if 3 of the 5 could make this work. The college football playoff is built on all 5 conferences. So I talked to a source today in the SEC, and the person told me, we're still planning on playing. Remember, the SEC Friday night issued part of its schedule, the ACC Thursday, and the Big Ten the day before. So there are so many mixed signals. Here's a schedule, we're starting to play, and now we're thinking about canceling. It's utterly unimaginable how bad this sport looks, how dysfunctional it is, but they're really getting what they deserve. There has not been any leadership from the top. There has not been any collaboration. And now, a week ago, I was sitting here with you guys talking about, well, the Pac-12 players are going to protest. Now everyone's sending out tweets that we want to play. Which one is it, Stephen A?
Well, I'll tell you what it should be. The college football season should be canceled. It should be canceled today. And I don't take any pleasure in saying that. You know that I've spoken at Alabama, I've spoken at Clemson, I've spoken at various universities throughout the last year. Paul, you know what I do. And at the end of the day, I'm a staunch supporter of moving forward, recognizing the seriousness of a situation, but understanding the economic impact. And religiously, I've been of the position that you move full steam ahead. You just exhaust safety protocols. That all goes out the window with college football, because college football is inept, it's incompetent, it's devoid of leadership, damn near morals as far as I'm concerned, and they're getting exactly what they deserve. I predict, Paul Finebaum and Max Kellerman, that because of what we're witnessing transpire before our very eyes right now, you will ultimately see some kind of student-athlete association. You will see representation received on the part of student-athletes in the future. Because when you are a sport of this magnitude, raking in hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and you don't have one definitive leader to lean on that everyone has to answer to, that has some sense of organization and structure, that is definitely looking out for the student athlete, when you don't have that going on and they're not getting paid, you've got yourself a problem. One of the things that I brought up, Paul, on a side note to some degree last week was this. When you're talking about college football, could college football be played if students were on campus? The incentive would be yes for the universities. Why? Because employee versus non-employee status doesn't come into the equation so much. You operate business as usual, and you're able to get away with it because the students are on the campus along with the student athletes. But if you're not going to have students on campus, let's say they go all virtual, for example, at a lot of these institutions, then the student athletes who show up, their employment status is enhanced. As a result, you don't get to call them amateurs. You don't get to rob them and screw them over like you've been doing for decades.
Unionize.
And to me, that's something that the NCAA is paying attention to right now. So in the end, what it comes down to is this. Mark Emmett, don't get me started with him. Paul, you've gone on him, gotten on him big time. You've excoriated him. He's deserved every bit of it, if not more. He comes across as inept and incompetent. The leadership with the NCAA, it's an absolute embarrassment. And as far as I'm concerned, why expose a student athlete to that? We talk about safety protocols and all of this other stuff. It's not good enough in some instances with pro leagues who are organized and are making money and are incentivized to do right by these guys. So imagine what college football is doing at this particular moment in time. It's a damn shame. It's an embarrassment. And as far as I'm concerned, the way for the NCAA in terms of football, the NCAA period, to get its comeuppance, long overdue, by the way, is for the cancellation of the football season to take place so we never have to deal with these incompetent, amoral people again when it comes to the student athlete I'm talking about.
Paul,
I don't know how they are personally in terms of morals, but in terms of the student athletes, I consider them damn near immoral.
Paul, I have a question. We've seen in our broader society, for lack of a better word, the pandemic lay bare some issues that have led to cultural changes, and we'll see if eventually not structural changes in terms of the way we lead our lives. And I'm thinking about Black Lives Matter and some other stuff, too, that we've seen that the pandemic has brought out. When I look at college football, do you think there's going to be a lasting equivalent, although we'll see if these cultural changes are lasting and if they're structural changes, but will there be changes to the NCAA, to the way college football is organized as a result of the pandemic and these kind of issues it's laying bare? Stephen A. Alluded to some of them, like a players' union, et cetera, that kind of stuff.
Totally. This is the single most important moment in the history of college football. I don't think when the dust settles, whenever that is, it is going to be recognizable. This reminds me a little bit of what happened with the Olympic movement in the 70s when players just finally said, why aren't we getting paid when athletes around the world, whether it's in East Germany or Russia or everyone else, are on the state payroll? So I think that is going to change. I think the structure of the NCAA will be ripped to shreds, and bravo, Stephen A., you're 100% correct. It's been archaic and antediluvian for way too long. The players really scare everyone right now. One person told me inside the bubble yesterday that as bad as COVID is, and we all know, the idea that players are demanding to be heard scares them equally as much, because in spite of the lip service from everyone inside intercollegiate athletics, oh, we care so much about the player, we want to sit down and listen, have thoughtful conversations, we all know that's total BS. They only do that for show. And they're not happy with what's going on social media right now.
The closing remark is this. This is the greatest opportunity the student athlete in collegiate sports has ever had to acquire representation. Everybody's watching, and we've seen the incompetence of leadership with the NCAA and how fragmented they are. And the bottom line is they've never had a greater opportunity to have representation than right now.